Tonight, several breaking stories on this Thursday night. The horrific plane crash right into a neighborhood, multiple people killed. Also, the murder charges just moments ago in the deadly terror attack outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. And tonight, this nor'easter now moving in as millions now travel for the holiday. First tonight, the staggering images coming in, the deadly plane crash right into a neighborhood. More than a dozen homes and cars up in flames. Parents with children in their arms running to safety. The business jet taking off just outside New York City last night, trying to land in San Diego in heavy fog. The pilot asking about weather conditions before dropping off radar. What we're now learning tonight about who was on board. Also breaking, the suspect charged with murder just a short time ago in the deadly terror attack outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington. 2 Israeli embassy staffers killed, the couple just days from being engaged. The suspect allegedly telling police, "I did it for Palestine, I did it for Gaza." The White House escalating its battle against Harvard tonight, banning America's most prestigious Ivy League school from enrolling foreign students. Thousands of students could be forced to transfer now or leave the country, and what this could mean for other schools. Tonight, that nor'easter threatening holiday travel for millions, heavy rain and dangerous winds in parts of the Northeast through tomorrow. Severe storms from Texas to Kansas. Lee Goldberg is standing by with the forecast. He'll time out these storms. The dramatic testimony at the Sean Diddy Combs trial tonight, the rapper taking the stand describing the break-in at his home. Prosecutors also showing his car that was firebombed, he says, while he was dating Sean Combs' ex-girlfriend. He believes he was targeted because he was dating her. Tonight, the Supreme Court deadlocked in a critical case blocking what would have been America's first taxpayer-funded religious charter school. Justices voting 4-4, with Justice Amy Coney Barrett recusing herself. So where this goes from here? The scare outside CIA headquarters, a driver shot and wounded, failing to stop at the gate. The Treasury Department now set to make the last penny in the U.S. And how much does it cost to make a 1-cent coin? Also, America Strong tonight, the moving moments here. High school seniors answering questions from their 6th grade selves. This is something.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us here on a very busy Thursday night. And we begin tonight with the deadly plane crash right into a neighborhood in San Diego, taking off from Teterboro Airport in New Jersey, outside New York City, flying across the country and then crashing while trying to land in fog in San Diego. The plane crashing right into one of the U.S. military's largest housing neighborhoods just before 4 a.m. this morning when families were asleep. Officials say as many as 6 people on board are feared dead tonight, homes and cars set on fire, and you could barely make out the jet. Families awakened by the explosion, running to safety with their children in their arms, some trapped in their homes by flames right at their door. Firefighters battling to put out the flames and trying to protect homes there. The horrific scene today when the sun came up. This home badly damaged, a truck burned right in the front yard. A dozen other homes damaged, about 100 people evacuated. The mangled wreckage lining the street. The fatalities were all on the plane, and remarkably, no one on the ground was killed, even with homes and cars on fire. Tonight, the investigation here and what we're learning about who was on board that jet and one of the last questions from the pilot before it went down. ABC's Trevor Ault leading us off. He's on the scene in San Diego.
Come on, let's go! Let's go!
Go! Tonight, the terrifying escape in the dead of night after a small plane slammed into the San Diego neighborhood. At least 6 people on board feared dead, more than a dozen homes and cars set ablaze. Ben and Srujana McCarty rocked awake.
All I could see was fire, and the roof of the house was torn off.
You could see the night sky from our living room.
Their neighbor Gilbert Gonzalez rushing to help as the McCarty family grabbed their children and pets.
Hey, we gotta be careful. There's things still explosive.
As I walked up, there was a kid getting, brought over the fence. It was handed down to me. I said, give me the kid. And then a second kid came down, so I'm holding 2 kids at the time.
The family rushing to safety, fearing their neighbors were still asleep.
Not awake yet.
It's okay.
They're not awake.
Cars exploding, shaking the block. Jessica Schrader describing the horror.
I woke up and I looked out the window and there's fire all in front of my house. I didn't know. I just kept hearing explosions and the fire was up to right in front of my front door. So I'm trying to figure out how to escape with my kids.
A neighbor throwing a ladder over her back fence, she and her family jumping onto the next door trampoline to safety.
This is a military neighborhood with several bases nearby, and officials say the crash spread so much jet fuel across these front yards, they had to approach this as if it were a wildfire.
The Cessna business jet had taken off from Teterboro, New Jersey late last night, making a pit stop in Wichita, Kansas, before attempting to land in San Diego through heavy fog. Moments before the crash, the pilot asking for weather conditions. Air traffic control warning visibility was minimal. The pilot responding,
"All right, that doesn't sound great, but we'll give it a go."
And then on final approach, seconds before the planned landing, the plane vanishing from radar 500 feet in the air, clipping a power line and crashing into this Murphy Canyon community. Well-known music agent Dave Shapiro was one of those killed on the plane. And last night, Daniel Williams, a well-known Christian rock drummer, posting these photos on Instagram showing a private jet. Tonight, the NTSB confirms that's the plane in the crash, though it's not confirmed if Williams was on that plane. Incredibly, there were no fatalities on the ground, but 8 people were injured.
I can't quite put words to describe what this scene looks like, but with the jet fuel going down the street and everything on fire all at once, it was pretty horrific to see.
The wreckage smoldering for hours, more than 100 people evacuated from several surrounding blocks.
And David, the NTSB says this plane likely had black boxes, which will be crucial for the investigation into why this crash occurred. But when you look at the damage to this neighborhood, David, this home ripped open. It is astonishing that everyone in these houses survived. David.
It really is a catastrophic scene there behind you. Trevor Ault leading us off tonight. Trevor, thank you. In the meantime, we turn to the deadly shooting outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. Tonight, the FBI now calling this a terror attack. And late today here, the suspect now charged with murder. A young couple, 2 Israeli embassy staffers gunned down, leaving an event, and we have now learned they were just days from being engaged. The suspect, surrounded by police and security, allegedly telling them, "I did it for Palestine, I did it for Gaza." Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight.
What the FBI is now calling a targeted anti-Semitic attack happening just after 9 p.m. Shots ringing out near the entrance to the D.C. Capitol Jewish Museum.
Response for an active shooter, 3rd Street.
They said they got 2 cases of second in mass.
30-year-old Yaron Leshinsky and his girlfriend, 26-year-old Sarah Milgram, 2 Israeli embassy staffers just days from being engaged, had been at the museum Wednesday night celebrating Jewish heritage. Their lives shattered just across the street from the FBI Washington field office, fatally wounded by a suspect allegedly obsessed with the Israeli-Hamas war.
The suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun.
According to a new federal criminal complaint, surveillance footage allegedly showing the suspect shooting the couple in the back, then continuing to fire after they fell to the ground. He reloads and continues to fire after one of the victims tries to crawl away.
A guy came up and looked like a gun. I couldn't tell what it was, but I heard it afterwards, the shots, and he shot this young couple. He just ran up. It was terrible.
Then, according to witnesses, the shooter pretended if he was a victim to get inside the museum.
I was worried for him, thinking, he might have experienced something.
I was trying to comfort him, and my friend offers him some water.
But within moments, they say, it became clear this man was actually the alleged shooter.
He reaches into his backpack and pulls out a keffiyeh and says, "I did it. I did this for Gaza, free Palestine."
Here's the suspect, soon surrounded by police and security, yelling what may have been the motive.
Free Palestine!
The FBI and D.C. police immediately launching an international investigation to determine if the suspect, identified as 31-year-old Elias Rodriguez, had any assistance or ties to terrorist organizations. The FBI raiding this home in Chicago this morning. A federal complaint says the suspect purchased the firearm in 2020 and flew with the gun in his checked bag from Chicago to Virginia just 2 days ago. But whatever happens with the prosecution, 2 beautiful futures and lives lost, and a romance story abruptly ended.
The suspect hit with a number of charges, including murdering foreign officials. But tonight, the DOJ is saying it's also pursuing hate and terrorism charges. All this as security at Jewish facilities and houses of worship is being stepped up here in D.C. and across the country, David.
Just awful to think this couple was just days from being engaged and that he had bought that engagement ring. Pierre Thomas with us tonight. Pierre, thank you. We turn now to the storms moving in just as millions of Americans travel for the Memorial Day holiday. There is a rare late season nor'easter now moving right up the East Coast. At this hour, rounds of heavy rain, gusting winds pounding parts of the Northeast right through tomorrow. Lee Goldberg has the forecast and Matt Rivers tonight with the images and what is expected to be a record-setting holiday travel.
Tonight, airports coast to coast packed with passengers ahead of the unofficial start of summer.
Obviously, there's nothing that you can do about it, but these lines are ridiculous.
From Philly to Chicago to Houston to Newark, where after multiple recent air traffic communications and radar blackouts, the FAA has cut the number of flights taking off and landing per hour. Liz McQuillan's on her way to Mexico.
I have my fingers crossed and I hope we get there because I want to see my nephew get married.
Nearly 54,000 flights booked for today, the most for the holiday period. As always, weather is the wild card, and a brewing nor'easter is threatening airports in the path from New York City to Boston, where hundreds of flights were delayed.
A little late in the season for a nor'easter, isn't it?
While millions pack the airports, most, nearly 40 million, according to AAA, are hitting the road, fueled by low gas prices. The national average, $3.19 per gallon, more than 40 cents less than this time last year. And David, rain and wind across the Northeast causing delays at major airports here at Newark. Roughly 400 delays so far and counting. David.
All right, let's get more on this rain and wind, Matt. Thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Lee Goldberg from WABC right here in New York to time all of this out for us. And Lee, hard to believe we're talking about a nor'easter tonight.
I know, it's not exclusive to winter. It's southeast of Long Island. It is pounding southern New England with heavy rain, 47-mile-per-hour wind gusts at Chatham, some coastal flooding. Rain goes all the way back to Hartford. This storm is moving northward. It's snowing on the top of Mount Washington with a wind chill of 5 right now. Heavy rain moves into northern New England tomorrow. It'll still be showers on the backside of that storm from Boston down to New York. It will be lighter, nicer by Memorial Day, but a slow, chilly start to the weekend. Other problem spots, it's the plains, Midwest, all the way to the Tennessee Valley. Rounds of severe storms in the weekend. Could be up to a half foot of rainfall as we go into the weekend. That's going to dampen the start of the holiday weekend as well. David?
Lee Goldberg back with us. Lee, thanks as always. There's been a major escalation tonight in President Trump's battle with Harvard. Homeland Security now banning the university from enrolling foreign students. Thousands of students could be forced to transfer now or leave the country. Here's Mary Bruce.
Tonight, a dramatic escalation in the Trump administration's ongoing battle with Harvard. The Department of Homeland Security telling the university it can no longer enroll foreign students, and existing foreign students must transfer or lose their legal status. Adding, let this serve as a warning to all universities and academic institutions across the country. DHS accuses Harvard of perpetuating an unsafe campus environment that is hostile to Jewish students and employing racist diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. Accusations Harvard denies. The move tonight leaving nearly 7,000 international students, a quarter of Harvard's student body, in limbo.
They're trying to punish an institution in the United States for not bending to its political will and doing it by attacking international students.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem saying Harvard now has 72 hours to comply with the administration's demands if they want to reverse the ban.
We've asked them for the backgrounds on students that attend their university, their criminal activity on campus, off of campus, any video or audio footage they have of this violent activity, and they have just simply not complied.
Harvard calls the ban unlawful, saying this retaliatory action threatens serious harm to the Harvard community and our country. Harvard is already suing the administration after it froze $2.2 billion in federal funding to the university, after Harvard refused to comply with the government's demands that they change their curriculum, admissions policies, and end all DEI programs. Now it's expected Harvard could challenge this new ban on foreign students. Asked tonight about another court fight with the university, the DHS secretary saying, quote, bring it. David.
Mary Bruce at the White House. Thank you, Mary. Now to the dramatic testimony and images of the Sean Diddy Combs trial right here in New York today. A rapper taking the stand claiming Sean Combs broke into his home and that Combs was also involved in firebombing his car because he was dating Sean Combs' ex-girlfriend. Aaron Katersky in the courtroom.
The Grammy-winning rapper known as Kid Cudi arriving at court in a leather jacket, smoking a cigarette. Inside, he told the jury about his suspicions that Sean Combs broke into his house and later firebombed his car. The jury seeing these images of Kid Cudi's torched convertible. The top of my Porsche was cut open, he said. That's where they inserted the Molotov cocktail. The defense has said Combs was simply not involved in the alleged arson. The rapper, whose real name is Scott Muscati, briefly dated Cassie Ventura. She said it made Combs jealous and angry. In previous testimony, Ventura said she sent her mother this email saying Combs threatened that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Muscati. Muscati said he arranged to meet Combs in Los Angeles. He said he remembered walking in and seeing Combs standing at a window with his arms behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. Kid Cudi said he asked Combs, "What are we going to do about my car?" He looked right back at me, very cold stare, and said, "I don't know what you're talking about." After testifying, Muscati posted this video to Instagram expressing relief.
This is a stressful situation. I'm glad it's behind me.
Federal prosecutors say Kid Cudi's car fires evidence Sean Combs used arson as part of a criminal enterprise, which he denies, David.
Eric Kaczorski tonight, thank you. Tonight, the Supreme Court deadlocked on Oklahoma's bid to use taxpayer money to fund a religious charter school. The justices voting 4-4, with Justice Amy Coney Barrett recusing herself. The tie vote leaves a lower court ruling in place now, which determined that a religious charter school would violate the separation of church and state. Supporters of the movement vowing to bring another case. When we come back tonight, news on this scare outside CIA headquarters. A driver shot while failing to stop at the gate. And then the end of the penny. This question tonight, how much do you think it costs to make a penny? In a moment. Tonight, the scare at the CIA, a security incident outside CIA headquarters. Fairfax police saying a driver was shot and wounded after failing to stop at the gate. The driver is expected to survive. Authorities tonight say no link to terror. When we come back here, remembering the youngest owner in the NFL and who gets the team now. And the end of the penny. So what happens now to the prices we pay? To the index tonight, the end of the penny, the U.S. Treasury Department ending production once its current inventory runs out. The penny costs about 3.7 cents to make every 1 penny. Prices will now likely be rounded to the nearest nickel. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay has died, just 37 years old when he took over the team in 1997. Ownership of the team is expected to go to his 3 daughters. Irsay died in his sleep. He was 65, no word on a cause. When we come back here tonight, imagine discovering questions you had for yourself back when you were in the 6th grade. You have to see this. Finally tonight, America Strong with graduation upon us. Imagine discovering the questions you had for yourself back in the 6th grade. Tonight here, right in the middle of graduation season, these high school seniors in Chattanooga, Tennessee have done something remarkable.
Hey, Cannon, this is your 6th grade self. Remember me? I've got a few questions for you.
The students at the McCauley School, an all-boys school, 6th grade through 12th grade, are marking their graduation. They're being interviewed by themselves.
Hi, Nakinji. This is your 6th grade self. You remember me? I have a few questions for you.
It turns out it was back in 2018 when they were all in the 6th grade. They recorded messages asking their future selves questions. So tonight, all these years later, they're now answering those questions.
Is your favorite subject world history, or is it math and science?
Not world history anymore. I'm a science guy now.
The simple yet profound questions back when they were in 6th grade, now answering them as graduating seniors.
What is the biggest life lesson you have learned this far?
Try your hardest, no matter what. You'll realize what happens when you don't try hard, so you better do it. You'll end up doing it.
What is the biggest life lesson you've learned thus far?
Always be kind to others and always love others.
The thing I'm gonna miss most is being with this group of guys. It's just a special relationship.
The biggest thing that I'll take away is that reaching out to people is probably the most important step you can take to building friendships.
And right here tonight.
Hey, David, thanks for having us on.
The graduating class of 2025, all grown up, and their messages. Ken and Brock.
I've been lucky to have 4 really great friends who have shaped me into a good person. If you surround yourself with those people, you're gonna do great things.
To Kenji Ashford.
You should cherish your experiences with everybody that you meet and be really intentional with how you interact and treat people.
Ward Ritchie.
You should just try to be friends with everybody and forgive and try not to hold grudges.
Christian Lawhorn.
Stay focused, stay determined and dedicated throughout whatever you're doing, because hard work does pay off in the end.
And Will Terrell. Congratulations to all this year's grads. We're rooting for you.
Be kind to everyone. Be grateful for what you have. Try your hardest with what you have. And people don't hear it enough. People don't say it enough. So I hope that people take that away from this video.
Brilliant idea. Good night.